Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. As you can see from the title, today we're making chutney. Yay! I have pre-cut up the green tomatoes, and here I am just slicing some onions. Don't worry about the recipe, it is in the description box below. I have tried to set it up as so you could copy and paste it onto your favorite Word program and print it off. So you just watch the video and see how I'm doing things and follow the recipe later. Okay, so I found 3 medium-sized onions worked for me in this recipe for this amount. The yield for this was 7 500 milliliter jars, mason jars that is, and I've already given 3 of those away, and I have 3 in my pantry and 1 in my fridge. So anyway, here I am just adding the onions to the green tomatoes, which have been washed, dried, coarsely chopped up with the tops and bottoms and blemishes removed. So you want to evenly distribute the onion through the tomatoes so that everything gets a bit of onion in it. And as you can see, there's a little bit of red in some of those tomatoes, but they are just turning, so it's fine. They turned actually as I was cutting them up. Okay, and I am adding 4 teaspoons of salt. Yep, that's right, 4 teaspoons of salt. And this is to draw the water out of the tomatoes and onions, which will help reduce the cooking time that you have to cook this chutney, because the idea is to get the liquid out so that the chutney can be thick and delicious instead of runny and watery. So you mix that through evenly as you can. And we are going to cover that with cling wrap and leave it overnight to do its thing. Okay, this is the next day. So I am going to roughly cut up these sultana raisins. And one of the reasons you cut things up is to release the flavors and help it break down in the chutney so that it's you don't get whole pieces, but you get the flavor and you get the even just distribution through it. So you just roughly chop these. You can add what it says in the recipe or add a little more or a little less, depending on your taste. These help add the sweetness to the chutney. So this kind of is up to you. I added a little more simply because I prefer the chutney this way, but you can stick directly to the recipe and you'll be fine there too. You'll find this can be customized. So okay, I have a 5.7 liter pot that I'm using. I would advise a 10 liter stock pot or canning preserving pot. You'd have more room to do your stirring and cooking in. However, I did make this work, 5.7 liter, but we work with what we got, right? So in goes the malt vinegar, 1 liter. I could only get them in 500 ml bottles, so I got 2 of them. Here we go, the second one. Pour that in. Chug, 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 chug. This, by the way, makes your place smell amazingly vinegary. It's an experience. So if you can, open some windows. Okay, and to that we add the brown sugar. And we're going to heat this whole lot up and dissolve the brown sugar into the vinegar. Now this is where the tangy and sweet come together. You get the tang from the malt vinegar and you get the sweet from the brown sugar. and the sultanas. So you got tangy and sweet. Okay, as you can see, the vinegar and sugar is boiling, just gently. And so it's time now for the sultanas to go in that we roughly chopped. And we're going to let them come to a gentle boil now that it's been added. And we'll be back. Okay, and now we unwrap the green tomatoes and onions that we had sitting overnight with the salt. And this is why you want to add the salt and leave it overnight. Look at all that liquid that's come out of the tomatoes and onions that you can now drain off. And as I said, this will reduce the amount of time you have to boil this chutney for to get it to the consistency you want. And there we go. Just give it a brief jiggle there. Get all the water out. Now, it's important you don't rinse after draining, because rinsing just adds more water and kind of defeats the purpose of what we were trying to do. So, into the pot it all goes with the vinegar and the brown sugar, and mix it through. Then you leave it sit and gently boil, just like you see here. And this is 2 hours in. This is 2 hours of boiling. As you can see, the volume is reduced quite a bit. It needs more to go yet. It's still very liquidy. And all you need to do during this cooking time is to keep stirring and adjust the temperature if it boils too vigorously. Okay, this is hour number 3 is gone. So this is what your chutney will look like. As you can see, the volume has reduced to just about half of what it was, which is what you want. And we are ready to do some canning. So you take the jars out of the oven where they have been drying and sterilizing, and get prepared to start canning. As you can see, I'm trying with the oven mitts, but that didn't work out so well. It was a little bit too awkward and messy, so I braved it and ended up with my bare hands. Now, a jam funnel would be easier right now to get the jars filled. It would be less messy. And I have one. I just can't find it for some reason. So here we go. Yep, this is about where I gave up. Yep. That's it. Okay. Yeah, they're very hot. But I braved it for this video. You know, anything for YouTube, you guys. So here you go. And all you do is fill the jars in the same way. I had 12 jars prepped, and I only needed 7. So you can make more. I mean, you can double this batch and make 14 jars or whatever. It's up to you, but 7 was sufficient for me. As I said, I've given 3 away, and I've got 3 in the cupboard, and I got 1 in the fridge, so I'm good. And in the fridge, I have tasted this. Okay. As you can see, I just gently tapped the bottom on the work surface, and that helps to knock the air bubbles out. And that is a great tip, by the way. Cover your work surface with newspaper. It makes cleanup so much easier. Now I have covered all of the jars except for one. I wanted to show you what I do here. And you take plastic wrap and you double it. Fold it in two. So you have a double layer of cling wrap. And you stretch it across the top of the jar. Make sure you get a good seal. And then as the chutney cools, the air under that cling wrap will contract, and it will pull the cling wrap down to touch the chutney, which will help seal this. That's how you preserve things. So you don't have to boil the jars afterwards in order to maintain a seal. Make sure you put the lids on tightly and label your product here with exactly what it is, when it was made, and who made it. That's you. So hope you enjoyed, and hope everybody gives this a shot. And these make great Christmas gifts. Share with your friends, your neighbors. Great for putting in your own pantry to get you through the winter. So here we go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.